Hello and welcome to A-Level Psychology. In this video we are looking at the stress topic in second year psychology. We're looking at the role of social support in coping with stress. This isn't exactly a treatment for stress, but it comes under the title of how we cope with stress, and it's one potential way. So what is social support? This is when people cope with stress by seeking help from people around them. And it's not just about what support we have, it's about that we perceive as well that we have support. Because sometimes people don't necessarily recognise the support that they do have. And that is really important that they do recognise this to be effective. Okay, 3 types of social support. Firstly, instrumental support, which is basically practical help. Secondly, emotional support, which is making someone feel better. And thirdly, esteem support is increasing someone's self-esteem. Okay, let's look at those one at a time. Instrumental support. This is where you're physically giving them some sort of practical help, and there's some examples here on the slide. That might be physically doing something. It might equally be giving them information that they need. That's also a form of practical help. Okay, secondly, emotional support. This is where you're expressing affection and concern for somebody. So you're giving empathy is a good word for this one. You're giving empathy. You're showing that you understand how they feel. And it doesn't necessarily change anything about their situation, but it does lift their mood, which helps. Okay, esteem support, and this is where you increase their belief in themselves. So when you're telling someone you can do it, or you're increasing their confidence in some way, you're telling them you did this last time, you can do it this time. So in some way, you're going to increase their belief in themselves that they can cope with this situation. Okay, so for these 3 things don't have to be totally separate. So for the same example, we could have all 3 types. So instrumental support for moving house would be lifting boxes. Emotional support would be helping them to feel better about moving house, focus on the positives. Esteem support would be reassuring them that they're really organised and that they can cope with the stuff that they will have to do. Okay, let's look at some evaluation. So firstly, we have supporting evidence. And these are quite cool studies, I think. So the first study is CAMARC, where they got participants to do a difficult mental task. Some people did it by themselves. Other people did it with a friend sitting next to them, touching their wrist, not even helping them with the task, but just being present, touching their wrist. And they had fewer physical signs of stress if they had the friend present, which is quite cool. The other one is also quite a nice study. Cohen measured stress and social support, so by questionnaire, I think, and then they infected participants with the common cold, and they measured how badly ill they got from the common cold, because as we know, stress and illness are really closely linked together. So if people had good social support, they were less likely to get ill. If they also had more hugs, if they reported receiving more hugs, that also linked with getting less ill from the common cold virus. And if they did get ill from the common cold virus, their symptoms weren't as bad. So both of those are quite cool supporting studies that actually show if someone has social support, they're being hugged and they're getting physical contact, that helps with the effects of stress. Right, there's one weakness here, and this is that social support doesn't always work. So again, like with treatments, we're looking, is this actually effective in reducing stress? And the problem with social support is really that it relies on people, and people aren't perfect. So sometimes people will offer the wrong type of social support. So for example, if someone just wants to tell you about their stress, they just want to be listened to, have a bit of emotional support, oh, they're there, that must be really hard, etc. But actually, you, instead of listening to them, say, oh, shall I do this for you? Shall I do that for you? That actually doesn't help. That's offering instrumental support. The two have to match. And if they don't, it can actually almost make you feel worse about it, or frustrated. And so it's really important that with social support that the two match. It means that it's not always effective, because not everyone is as good at offering the correct type. Okay, that was social support.